when the FII Juggernaut continued to roll. Hello and welcome to Markets Today Talk Back, the show where we will tell you all that happened in those 6 hectic hours of trading in just 5 headlines. I'm Lata Venkatesh. With me, my colleague Prashant Nair. Hi, Prashant.
Lata, hi. Mid-caps and small-cap indices ending the day in the red, slightly in the red, but the Nifty ending up, largely helped by banks. That's the story. Over the next 30 minutes, we will talk about what moved, the top stories, and our guests, of course, will join to answer some of your questions. And to help us today, we have Mayuresh Joshi, and on the charts, we have Mitesh Thakkar. Mayuresh and Mitesh, thanks very much for joining us. As always, before Q&A, we spend 2 minutes taking stock of what happened right from the word go. And let's start top down, the factors which influence trade. Lata.
Well, there was every reason to expect that the previous days of rally may not continue because Asian markets and Wall Street were soft. But the tidal wave of foreign flows made India a different story. The flows just wouldn't stop, and it was only the broader markets, by which we mean the mid caps and small caps, as you alluded, that saw a stalling of the rally. Clearly, money was also moving from the mid-cap stocks to the large caps because that's where the man with the big bucks was willing to invest, the foreign investor, the foreign ETFs. So there was this big rush of money, and you could clearly make out that this was foreign flow led, not just because of the numbers of the past 3 days, 3,000 crores, 2,000 crores actually it's almost 10,000 crores in the last 1 week or so that has flowed from the FII pocket. So the typical foreign fund favorites, the HDFC Twins, Reliance, SBI, Indices Bank, these are the stocks they favor, and these were the stocks that continued to rally today, taking the Bank Nifty, of course, to fresh all-time highs. But beyond this Indices and HDFC, I'm sure you have lots to talk about.
Yes, but I will start with Indices and HDFC because that's
just
where
the compelling story.
The bulk of the gains, on the Nifty at least, and the Bank Nifty was that, right? So Indices Bank, almost 7% in the last 2 trading sessions, and it's a breakout technically as well. Yes Bank was up about 3.5%. There was Bajaj Finance, which was up about 2 3/4%. And of course, there was HDFC Bank, which you referred to, 2.5 higher, 5% for that one in the last 2 days. SBI, and there were, names like HPCL, etc. But banks and financials really bulk of the gains. Losers, there was Bharti. It had done quite a bit from the recent lows of 300. It lost about 4% today. IOC was down 3.5. Vedanta was down about 4. There was Z and Sun, both have done well recently. Z especially, which also corrected a little bit. Just some give back. Broader gains coming in from names like Just Dial, huge 17% gains, big volumes. 14 million shares, by the way, in Just Dial. BEML was up nearly 7% plus. Pidilite about 4%. Info Edge, I think it's a new high on Info Edge, and what a year so far it's having. 3% higher. Bombay Dyeing 5%. ABB India up about 3.5%. Mastec, Taj GVK, and Indocount, the textile company, which had corrected so much, came out of the blue, 18% higher, 2.5 million shares on that one. Losses, and there were a few. Lupin, the most prominent of the lot outside of the Nifty, nearly 5% cut. Vedanta was down almost 4%, and there was something like a Steel Authority of India, which was down about 4.5% as well. Lata.
Okay, thanks a lot for that exhaustive list of big winners and big losers. Let's check out where we go from here and invite our guests. Mitesh, to you first, as always, because we want to know what the charts are saying. In the morning, not everybody believed that the Nifty would make too much headway, but it indeed has. Not a great deal, but still ending in the green by 1/3 of a percent. Good to go, Mo?
So I think, good evening, Lata. I think eventually, yes. Short term is always tricky given the fact that we've had a rally. But I think morning I had some kind of a positive bias for 2 reasons. One, the Bank Nifty had yesterday broken into all-time highs, getting past at 28,300, 350 mark. And getting past all-time highs is always positive. Most likely sees follow through. And that was a significant top from where we had seen a 15% plus correction in Bank Nifty. So I think the Bank Nifty lent a lot of weight to the Nifty. HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, all I think stocks ended in positive. That still is showing more signs. But what is also true is that in the short term, we're extremely overbought. So from a tactical point of view, fresh entry not the best point, but the trend is still on the upside. I have targets of 11,500 or thereabouts on the Nifty and 29,250, 300 on the Bank Nifty. So there is upside left. But if you want to enter now, I'm not very sure about it. So very clearly, it's a buy on dips market. Otherwise, whatever you have, trade your stop losses and hold.
But congratulations, you were the only one who were long on the Nifty Bank in the morning. I think the others were calling for taking off long positions. But Mitesh persisted and sought to be different. That much more money for you, Mitesh, because of that. The second headline?
Absolutely. Well, Bank Nifty is exactly that, which rose for the third straight day. FIIs flocked to buy names like HDFC Bank and Indices. The index ended the day at a record close after hitting intraday life highs. This was the biggest three-day gaining streak for Bank Nifty since October of 2017. I think we got a question, Lata, on Indices.
Yeah, just a word before that. These were the obvious FII favourites, like you also pointed out, HDFC Twins, Indices, of course, even the non-bank names like Reliance, SBI, another FII favourite. These were the ones that found buying. There is also usually an algorithmic move when the rupee strengthens and bond yields fall. Bond yields fall because the rupee has strengthened, imports are cheaper because the rupee is stronger. And when those yields fall, there is a natural advantage as well to the financial stocks. So that was another reason that some algorithmic trades moved in favour of some of these stocks. Well, that said, let's invite questions. Amit Shah from Gujarat has written in with a query on Indices Bank. He wants to know the right time to invest. He wants to invest 20,000 rupees in the bank. He says he's a long-term investor. Well, it's gone a long way now. So, Mayuresh, welcome to the show. What would you advise this gentleman?
Evening, Lata. I think if he has focused on Indices Bank, again, I think a staggered way of entering into the stock over the next few weeks is what I'll opine. Again, largely, I think what you've probably seen in terms of delivery, the NIMs have largely got maintained at 3.83%. The asset quality with GNP is at 1.13, net NP is at 0.59, have largely been stable as well for the bank. The ILFS provision, I think that will have an accelerated provisioning in the coming quarters, and that might just take the sheen off in terms of how the earnings might grow for the next quarter. But overall, I think the corporate and the retail advances are growing at a very fast clip, and credit costs should be within meaningful ranges over the next few quarters as well. So again, I think a staggered way of entering that, but we also like, say, a Federal Meringue from the mid-cap space, where I think the valuations are undemanding at this point of time.
Okay. Well, actually, if he's only going to invest 20,000 rupees for a big fat stock like this, he has to buy one stock a day to stagger it. But so be it, enter in a staggered fashion. Mitesh, you want to give a view on Indices Bank or any other bank?
I think so. It's corrected from 2000 to about 1350, 1400, and then done some base building, is reversing. I'm not sure the long-term trend is resuming on the upside yet, but the medium-term trend is clearly shifted on the upside. So if somebody wants to take a positional trading bet, which is about 2 to 3 months, I would suggest buying right now and adding more on any declines of about 50-70 points, and your stop loss should be just below 1520. I think the stock can easily head up towards 1800, 1850 zones to begin with.
Okay, that's Indices essentially. Medium term, the stock has turned around. Long term, Mitesh is still not very sure, but it has come up from the recent lows. The third headline of the day, CPSE ETF additional sale is going to be launched next week. That's on the 19th of March. As a result of this announcement, PSU names like Coal India, ONGC, NTPC, which are all part of that ETF, languished in trade. Nimish is joining in with more details. Nimish.
Most of the PS stocks were under pressure today as the fourth series of the CPSE ETF is going to get launched next week on the 19th of this month. Now, the government is looking to raise between 3,500 crores up to 10,000 crores via the CPSE ETF with a green show option of 6,500 crores. This particular ETF had 11 stocks. The biggest impact will come in stocks like ONGC, IOC, Coal India and BEL. And these all stocks were under pressure today because of the ETF. Generally, there is a 5% discount to retail investors. So that's the reason why most of the stocks were under pressure. As I said, the government is looking to raise 3,500 crores as a base book, and they have a green show option of another 6,500 crores. So maybe the government will end up raising close to 10,000 crores, and the CPSE basket ETF will be launched on the 19th of this month. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Nimesh. Twitter query, or rather someone who has tweeted a question to us, Runner Joy. He has Indian Oil shares which he has purchased at 149 rupees a piece. He wants to know if he should hold or sell. There you are. I think IOC got a double whammy today. There was an inching up of crude prices, and of course it will be included in the ETF sponsored by the government, the CPSE. Mayuresh, what should this gentleman do? IOC at 149. I think he must have bought it like yesterday or day before.
Oh, you would have. And again, I think you're absolutely right, Lata, in defining the parameters, because crude movement and the rupee movement against the dollar are clearly sensitivity to EPS earnings. Now, in terms of the overall profile, I think he can very well hold on if he has a long-term vision, because what is probably happening in terms of the Ennore terminal coming up, the refining at Paradeep, where the complexity is far higher, and the expectations in terms of GRMs gradually improving because of the middle distillate norms in lieu of the IMO regulations coming in from Jan 1st, 2020. Again, I think it's got a diversified portfolio. So it's got the pipelines as well, which is part of its SOTP pricing. It's also got the downstream products where the petchem product pricing also accounts for a major chunk, and the cash flows and the dividend yield also makes it an attractive proposition. So if it's a long-term view, you can definitely continue holding.
Okay, continue holding it if it's for the long term. Mitesh, IOC, your call?
Yeah, see, I think the stock does appear to have kind of bottomed out around the 130, 125 mark, which is what it had hit. But again, I'm not very positive signs on the charts for a big up move. Maybe 165 can happen over the next few weeks, few months, and then the stock will taper off from there. So in that sense, it's more of a trading bet for me, not an investment bet. But around 160, 165, I would at least advise to take profits and possibly look into something which is more high beta as well as pointing on the upside on the long-term charts.
Okay. Fair point, Mitesh. Mayuresh, do stay on. We have to take a break. But while we do that, let's leave you with some very important market opinion that we got today. Someone familiar to everyone who watches CNBC TV18 or watches markets. Morgan Stanley's Ridley spoke with us today. He sounded extremely optimistic on earnings growth. In fact, he thinks that there is likely to be a 20% annual growth, 20% growth in earnings every year for the next 5 years. So we are starting at the cusp of a very good trend in earnings growth. He also said that he has been positive on residential-oriented real estate stocks as well as corporate banks. Listen in.
Nifty was very resilient through this phase. It hardly reacted to what I would say was a pretty challenging macro environment. Nifty should have behaved more poorly than it did. It hasn't actually behaved that poorly. In fact, if you look at it from the beginning of October to now, the Nifty is actually also flat against emerging markets. 2 years on, more capacity has got utilized in the private sector. So right now I would estimate, or I should say guesstimate, that utilization rates are in the low 80s. And another 2 years they'll be in the low 90s. Now it's a time at which capacity needs to come on stream. So sometime in the second half this year, post-elections, I think the private sector will start debating capex. And in 2020, I think we should get some capex from the private sector as well. I think we are at the beginning of a new fundamental cycle. Now these are long duration cycles. They tend to last for 5-7 years. So arguably, I would say that, we are at the beginning or, maybe a few months into a 5-7 year cycle in which I think we should witness pretty strong earnings growth. It will not surprise me if earnings, put in a 20% CAGR over the next 5 years.
And Mitesh are with us to take us through the day's trading activity, take some questions. We got through 3 of the stories, so we will move on to the 4th one. Metal stocks took a bit of a backseat on broadly a global risk-off. Nifty metals underperformed key indices to end almost 2% in the red. Vedanta, Tata Steel, Jindal Steel were some of the bigger laggards, losing between 2 to 3%. We got a question, Lata.
Oh yes. Than Singh Prajapati from Uttar Pradesh has written with a question on JSW Steel. Says he's been holding 6,000 shares of the company purchased at 386 rupees. It can't be a month. I think he just bought at 386 rupees a piece. He wants to know if he should hold or sell. So that's Jindal Steel. He's a big investor holding 386 shares, and he wants to know, holding 6,000 shares. What should he do, Mayuresh?
No, again, a large element, Lata, again is the perspective. So if he is carrying on a longish bit of a view with holding on to the stock, he can definitely keep on holding the stock. Now the parameters that are probably expected to work for the stock is the expectations of prices moving up again. Because if there is any resolution that comes on the US-China front, I think the LME pricing will start moving in. And again, I think the inventory levels at the LME exchange itself are pretty dismal at this point of time. The second element obviously is the capacity addition that JSW Steel is doing and the value-added products that it is adding to its suite, which obviously are high margin again. The third element in terms of the large capex that they've announced over the next 3 to 4 years, that will again start giving them back at net returns. So I think the earnings profile should gradually improve, the volume should gradually improve, and the consistency in the sales numbers, along with moderation of input costs, should enjoy and ensure the operating leverage on the balance sheet. So a clear hold from my side.
Okay, thanks very much for that, Mayuresh. We move on to the fifth and the last headline of today. We're essentially talking about the aviation sector. SpiceJet was down 2% after India's aviation regulator decided to suspend the use of Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircrafts. Jet also ended the day in the red. However, Interglobe made hay as the airline does not have any of those models which are facing a fair bit of trouble now. Sonia is here to tell us how the ban will impact aviation players and of course consumers as well. One big talking point is that maybe fares are going to go up, not just for this reason, but other reasons as well. Sonia, over to you.
Well, the biggest negative impact because of the grounding of planes is towards SpiceJet. SpiceJet has 12 of its aircrafts that have been grounded. In fact, they put out a press release where they said that they've already initiated grounding of the MAX planes, and by 4 p.m. today is when they will ground all their MAX planes. They've cancelled 14 flights today as well, and they're working with Boeing and the DGCA to resolve the matter. We did speak to a whole host of analysts and experts, and they believe that the lack of clarity on how long the planes will be grounded is the biggest overhang. Of course, the grounding of aircrafts will immediately create an unexpected drop in capacity, and that will support yields and favour a player like Indigo. That's why Indigo closed in the green today. For SpiceJet, the earnings growth on account of volume expansion is something that could get postponed. Until more clarity emerges on the MAX planes, SpiceJet can perhaps try to take dry leases till the problem subsides. However, a lot of analysts believe that it's just a sentiment negative and the P&L impact is nil on SpiceJet. Since this is a fault at Boeing's end, SpiceJet could be adequately compensated for their losses as well. In terms of the other issues for the industry, Kapil Kaul of CAPA believes that all of this will lead to an airfare rise of 15 to 20% in the near term because of the capacity shortage.
All right, Sonia, we will have to wrap on that note. Mitesh and Mayuresh, thank you very much for joining us. We are wrapping up because the Aviation Secretary is speaking, and we probably are going to get some more details on where this Boeing issue is going to end or how it's going to evolve from tomorrow. So over to the Aviation Secretary.
As in the past, they have had, these are bit emergency situation in the sense that SpiceJet, they have withdrawn that MAX because of our order. Then the Jet Airways, some issues were there anyway, their fleet was being depleted, and then also because of the closure of our airspace on the western side. This kind of situation, all the airlines have always pitched in as far as the fares are concerned. So what we have requested and Secretary has requested them is that fare they should be kept at roughly the same level as it was there before this one. Of course, from today itself and tomorrow onwards, DGCA will be monitoring how the fare movement is there, and wherever there will be need, we will be in touch with and we will talk to the airlines. Of course, the availability of the crew and FTTL limitation, this is very important for us from safety, that we have highlighted to all the airlines that has to be maintained, and all of them they have assured. And then till today, all what the orders DGC has passed, they have complied. As Secretary has already told, all the aircraft, MAX, they have been anyway, they have been shut by 2:30. And then, as you know, that we have also taken a notum that no aircraft should overfly or come to India or fly outside. So that notum has till 4 that was there. So everybody, even with the international players, they had enough time to adjust to that. So after 4, the AI has passed orders to everyone that no aircraft with MAX, the SVT MAX aircraft, that has to be accepted. So that will be fully complied with. in addition to this, any issue you would like to ask?
Sir, on what basis will you decide to lift this restriction?
Let me tell you, that will be again decided by lot of inputs which we will be getting, and then now it is a more of a global phenomena. So we will be getting all the inputs from all the regulators, from the manufacturer, from the certifying regulator, which is FII. Only then we will be deciding. But then we expect it to take time. It's not.
Price capping को लेके क्या बात है सर? Price capping को लेके price को लेके हो सकता है दिक्कत हो.
Pardon?
So how much compensation to be provided by
No, this is their
to
commercial decision. The regulator doesn't come into picture with that. This is a commercial decision between the the selling
manufacturer and the
buyer. So DGC has no issues there.
Ticket के pricing को लेके क्या बात है सर?
That is what I told. We have told them as always. I mean, whenever any emergent situation has come, they have always pitched in. They have always helped. Again, we have requested them, and as I said, we will be monitoring the fares on the daily basis. And then, of course, as we have been doing in the past, we will be, taking corrective measures wherever needed.
Sir, did the other airlines also agree to not raise prices?
All of them. As Secretary said, all the airlines were here.
So they agreed to not surge prices?
Of course, they agreed. So let me see. I mean, we will keep on monitoring.
Not to have predatory pricing.
You mentioned that SpiceJet will be allowed to get 2 aircraft. For a short-term basis. Can we get some kind of an idea of what aircraft these are and from
they
where?
They won't be Max, you be sure.
No.
These are Bombardier.
Where
they'll be I won't be having the make, but then there is a common practice which our airlines put in place. Indigo had been doing, others are also doing. If the short-term, some capacity shortcoming comes, that we allow. It is word over that phenomena which the airlines undertake. And then they are also undertaken. So even if the other airlines during this period, when we say 2 weeks or so, of course there's no point in bringing on the lease for, generally it is 3 months. So if any other airline will be asking, we have offered them also. It's quite a, the formalities have to be fulfilled. It has to be, quite safety measures in that. But any airline, if they'll be keen on doing that, DGCA will be facilitating. Of course, first priority is taking care of the safety. Will be facilitating that. So these two.
कितने एयरलाइन के representative आज आए थे?
Pardon?
आज कितने?
All airlines. All airlines.
Sir,
all scheduled airlines.
How concerned are you given that half of India's order book is Max? Jet and SpiceJet both in total have 225 plus 155, almost 400.
Of course, I mean this kind of situation comes. This is an issue for all of us, and then in fact now this is an issue for all the regulators across the globe. So let's see now, it's too early to say. Let's see, hopefully something comes out, the manufacturer and FAA, they are able to address that issue so that the confidence is built among all the regulators and the
but safety won't be
compromised. We are able to move forward.
Sir, is any airlines demand for compensations like Norwegian Air has demanded for the compensation from the Boeing?
No, that's between them.
Yeah, is there any conversation today?
No, not at all. This is a matter between the supplier and the buyer.
True.
So it is between them.
So Boeing के representative नहीं थे यहाँ पे?
सर आपकी बोइंग से किसी इंटरनेशनल एजेंसी से बात हुई कि आखिरकार इसको लेके क्योंकि आप लगातार एकदम टच में हैं?
These are technical matters which DGCA decides and they interact with them. So उस पे DGCA बात करते हैं उनपे.
So when do you plan to hold the meeting with Boeing?
Boeing almost, yesterday we had, tomorrow maybe again that may happen. But that is purely on technical issues. It's nothing to do with their, compensation. The DGCA, that is not at all in the domain of DGCA.
So are you seeing fares increasing in any particular sector which is a cause of concern?
No, let's see. I mean, usually what we do is the DGCA. We know that which sector is being withdrawn. So they become sensitive sectors for us. We focus on that, but overall, all we see.
Is there any numbers you can give as to which are sensitive sectors?
As I said, we'll be starting. I mean, say tomorrow in a quite a way. Today, of course, anyway, that was not a big issue in the sense that because half the day anyway they were operating. So it's only 14 got cancelled and all they adjusted in other ones.
So can you give some kind of a clarity? What changed in a few hours or in less than a day for you to go from asking PICs to have 1,000 and second pilot to have 500 to actually banning the aircraft? What changed?
No, let me.
What are the
I think this will be
inputs
very
you got?
important because this has been asked to me by many. Let's see, it is a very, very dynamic situation, almost changing, on the hour basis. What we have done is, if you see all the regulators across the globe, they had put, when that first crash happened in Indonesia, then each one, according to their own situation, according to their own ecosystem, they had put in place certain safety measures. We put very robust safety measures, you know that, we have shared with you. Then, and then we have been almost, now that it is only 12, but 5 Jet Airways, they were also flying. So all these one, almost on the daily basis, they were being monitored. If any incident or accident is happening, that is daily basis monitored at my level. Not only MAX, but all. So MAX separately we used to see. So, so far, I mean, in India, whatever the aircraft are, their performance have been, it's been really, I'll say satisfactory, not less than any other group of aircraft. So that was one factor with us. Secondly, when this new, unfortunate crash had happened in Ethiopia, then again we have gone through this whole process. And then is there something, I of course in touch with the manufacturer, in touch with the FAA, in touch with some other regulators also, getting the inputs. Then again we had put in place certain, further safety measures, which we thought, I mean, at least this is the minimum we should do. Then also we had these measures which we have taken, we had shared with FAA also, we had taken with Boeing also, we had shared with that. And then we are also seeing what the bulletins they are raising, what the ADs they are issuing. We have gone into that also. They had issued, if you people know that, FAA had issued yesterday, one continued airworthiness advisory they had issued yesterday. Then this Boeing, they responded to our mails which we have been sending with them. And of course, at the end of the day, seeing that, we thought that, this is better to, from safety point of view, take this decision, because we were not, didn't get more confidence out of those, what the communication
also
we got.
the communication
Even
that
the journal.
The communication that you got from the FAA and Boeing did not give you enough confidence to
If you see, you might have gone, because all of you are monitoring, that is on their website.
Okay.
So you have seen that this is general kind of thing.
Right.
General kind of something. On very specific issues what we have raised, of course, we feel that is not being addressed. So this moment, seeing that, this whole background I have told you, and then also in the background that, world over, very robust regulators, they are, that's general, the scenario all across the globe is, at this moment, that, safety concerns are there, this aircraft. So that is the decision we took yesterday.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So just one final question, sir. The future deliveries of the MAX planes, so what would happen with that? So right now, because planes can't fly over, you're not going to take...
I think the airline will take a call along with the...
But will you allow any future deliveries to come in?
Of course, when we have not allowed anything in our sky, nothing can be allowed.
Okay.
So, two clarifications. One, did you say that the response you got from FAA and Boeing were not satisfactory? Is that what you meant?
No, I can't use that kind of term. The point is there is nothing satisfactory.
See, all these inputs put together were analyzed.
We take a decision on the basis of, seeing our ecosystem. And we are also quite a responsive organization. I think I want to assure everybody, I mean through you people, that maybe from, journal, maybe experts outside and others, me as a DGCA will be having much more access to lot of input which may be not available otherwise. So what was the decision taken day before, that was also based on certain inputs, and we were very confident on that. If yesterday we have taken a decision in the night, that again is based on lot of inputs. And then I can't say, I mean FAA anyway, but they are very confident, their aircraft are flying, so I can't say. But what we saying, what we were looking for, that of course is not, what could have given us the confidence to move, continue on that.
So one last question.
And maybe tomorrow again we may,
so
it is a dynamic, we keep on.
So one last, so your release says that the aircraft will be grounded till Boeing made any changes. So
have they have you talked with them? Are they willing to make any changes or?
Let's see. It is a bit of a long haul. It is long haul. It is a long haul.
Have you had any the notam was issued about closing for airspace for these aircraft? Any flights that were headed our way, we had to turn back because those sort of reports have also come from, say for instance, United Kingdom, where two of Turkish Airlines flights had to be turned back. They were headed for Gatwick and Birmingham mid-air.
Yeah.
So any of that?
No, let me tell you, we have been very careful on that.
We gave enough time. No.
We have been very careful on that. That is why, what we did, even our spies at our own airline, they also go abroad by MAX. So they had gone, night they had gone, to early morning they had to come back. That is why we gave this time, so that they could reach, within our airspace, and they can go to a place, because this may be a grounding for some time. They have to be parked somewhere. They have to be maintained. Normal maintenance has to be done. I'm coming to that. So this is our player. Yeah. So that is why we gave that time. Maybe you are saying once we are on the one hand we are saying immediately, on the other hand we are giving some time. So this is to build in that. Second, if you see, our notam had come in the morning roughly about 10:30, and this is this is ending. Our airspace for MAX, it is ending at 4. So these generally MAX aircraft, the maximum flight time will be 5 hours. So we had built in that any international player, if he is doing any flight, he reaches its destination. So now, because that 10:30 to 4 is more than those 5 hours. So from 4 now, as I said, there is a foolproof system now. Our ATCOs, they simply won't allow any aircraft, MAX aircraft, to take off to fly. The clearance won't be given. So
one last one. Sir, how does the government plan to ensure that fares don't go up? Because recently studies have shown that airfares may go up to 20%. So has any directive been issued on government's part, or any cap suggested?
I think that twice.
I think we have answered that. What we are saying is, first of all, we have advised the airlines. The first step is advice, and they have promised that they will not do any predatory fare fixation. They will not do
but
the predatory. The norms, the predatory basically means that which means that they should not use this as a reason to jack up their fares. So that's what they have assured. They'll say they'll go as per normal, as per routine. They will be adjusting the fares, and this will not be a reason for increasing the fares. And how do we do it? We will. The DGCA has just said that he will be monitoring it very closely on the sectors on which these cancellations may take place. And after monitoring, if it is observed that the fares are predatory, then advisories will be issued.
Sir, do you have reason to believe that the Lion Air crash and the Ethiopian crash are related?
See, these are very technical matters. We will not be able to commit that the two crashes, still the black boxes have to be analyzed, and crash investigation is a highly specialized and a high-tech job. So it will be better that we should refrain from committing anything at this stage.
Just one final thing. So on Vistara, so there were some reports today that they've got their international license. So can you confirm?
Vistara got the
international flying license to start their flights?
Yeah, that's right. Vistara has been authorized that they can mount international flights now.
Okay. From when, sir? As of now?
Yeah, as of now. It has already appeared in the media.
Yeah. So my last question. So any reason for this?
Last question for five times.
This one, promise. I promise. This one. So any particular reason for this flip-flop by the government since the...
On what?
So on this Boeing issue, of course.
On the Boeing issue, the government and the DGCA have been extremely consistent. First of all, we have ensured that we take the right inputs and we should not act in a haste. So immediately, some action was taken by DGCA, advisories were issued, instructions were issued. At the same time, the situation was studied, analyzed, inputs received from different agencies, and then when the DGCA was satisfied that yes, now it is time to act, they acted immediately. So it was a very consistent stand. DGCA did not act in a haste and acted on a very reasonable inputs.
Sir, on a separate issue on Jet Airways, sir, they've grounded 4 more planes yesterday.
I think the Jet will discuss afterwards, okay?
So
okay then,
so just on
thank
passengers,
you.
so what are you doing to ensure...